Well, hello and welcome to Our Subconscious Speaks. My name is Don Robert, and this is my hypno partner.
In Orlando.
And together we are Tina, Orlando, and Dawn. I don't know why that doesn't get old for me. I just still get a smile and a giggle out of it. I hope some of you do. I know some of you do, actually. You say it to me.
Hmm.
Just in case you're new to the channel or you forgot how amazing we are both award-winning, top of our class clinical hypnotherapists and honors graduates from the Hypnosis Motivation Institute here in Tarzana, California. And here on our channel, we're going to discuss all things conscious, subconscious, and anything in between. So we really kind of enjoy you to come by and hang out, dropping new episodes weekly. We're really peeling back the curtain on our personal relationship over the last almost 5 years.
Hmm.
And this is just a recorded version of what we would do on the phone for hours and hours. It's a little more condensed. Like we literally, our record is over 8 hours in one day.
It's true.
It's true. Yeah.
What are we doing?
So we encourage you to come hang out and don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe for more. We really appreciate your comments, suggestions, and requests. So feel free to throw the comments in there, the questions. Today's
Hmm.
topic is the United States of Overload.
Ooh, what the hell does that
What
mean?
is that? Nice opening, Don. All right, Tina. Tina's going to drive the bus today. Tina, what are we talking about? The United States of Overload. Are we
The
just getting in people's
overload.
face right now?
Pretty much. Pretty much. You're all overloaded. So, I mean, it's, one, two, three, four, five.
Wait,
Eyes open, wide
are you
awake.
overloaded too?
I'm always overloaded. I have to
See,
always.
it's not like it's us and them. I want to
No,
clarify that. It's
no.
everyone, the
Everyone
United.
is
It's you could
overloaded.
really say the global overload
Yes.
because we're not
And
alone in this. We're
no,
our main audience is in the US, but this is, as you said, global.
it is
So
global
what are we
because
talking about here, Tina?
we're talking about conditioning. We're talking about
Ooh.
programming. I know
Uh-oh.
these are big, scary words,
Uh-oh.
right? So
I'm
buckle
like
up.
all of a sudden I'm transported back to the TV show Lost.
It's so true.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so true. Buckle up. It's going to
Yeah.
get bumpy because that's what it is, right? We are conditioned, we're programmed. Whether it's your food, your television, your social media, the apps that you are using, it's every single aspect of your life. You are
Mm.
programmed and overloaded, and you have to step out of it. I don't know if it's going to be a social media detox because social media is the biggest component here. I
It's
know
the anchor to it all, right?
I'm
And
gonna
really,
I'm going.
social media is the evolution of the television and the
That's right.
commercials
Well, here's the thing about that is that it's then fragmented programming. So it's in these little tiny bits that
now.
we
It
can
is.
just
Yeah, yeah,
can
yeah.
take in. Because before we'd have to dedicate, we're going to sit down after dinner and watch TV together as a family. And now everybody might be sitting on the same couch, but you're all looking down at your phones and being programmed in different ways by whatever you see, which is the biggest question then is the fantasy of what you're seeing and the reality of what you're living.
Mm.
And that in itself will cause anxiety, envy, depression, low self esteem. I mean, it goes on and on. What is happening? I know it's a lot.
I got to ask a question.
Go
So
for it.
you just said, and I know you were in the flow, so hopefully you'll remember. You said it's seeing and feeling or believing. What did you say there?
It's all
Seeing,
of it.
right? Because you made me think. As you know, I'm like I've dove, divin? No, I've dove.
That you do
I've dived.
dive.
I
Good.
am fully into Dr. Joe Dispenza
Hmm.
book right now, and
Hmm.
he talks about the way to kind of create your own reality, which could be
Right.
the attraction manifestation is like, well, first of all, he says it all anchors on gratitude, which we can talk about another episode, but he talks about like you can create the feeling of that which you want as long as you don't
Correct.
use your senses to attach to it. And that's what the media has done to us, pulling on those
Right. But
little
it's
heartstrings during the commercials and the, yeah.
right. But if they've taken it a step further with social media, right? Because then you have all these people posting how wonderful their life is. Well, what happens when you see that? You think, oh, and then you look around and you go, oh, wait, my life sucks now. Look,
Right.
I don't have a refrigerator filled with designer ice. I don't have gold spoons. Like, you could just pick the stuff. I mean, those are two very small things, but those will create envy. Those will recreate a deficit in you. So you have to be careful of what you're perceiving. Yes, you can curate what you perceive, but you still have to step away from the social media because those social media apps are created specifically for you to press the button, for you to
Mm,
scroll. That's a
yeah.
response that you learn. It's like when you're gambling and you have what you're doing is you're betting on the maybe the magic of maybe, right? Because
Right.
that's what it
Right.
is, right? And
It's
then you
that
pull the
glimmer of hope.
handle,
Gonna hit
it's
the
hope.
jackpot.
Right. I could have a fabulous life. I could have designer ice. Sure, of course I can if I want to spend the time to
Right.
do that. But in order to do that, you got to keep scrolling because then you got to figure out how. And then
Yeah.
it keeps leading you down the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
And then it keeps spiking your dopamine. So not only have they created a way to program us, but a way to control, the chemicals in your brain. I mean, this is
This is
huge,
scary
right?
stuff, man.
Right, right. So now they're controlling the chemicals in your brain and they're telling you what you are to believe. Not only that, but now they're going to feed you bad food so that you become more susceptible
Did you
because
literally just open the door? I've got a sledgehammer. I'm gonna break it down.
sorry.
Yeah, no, we definitely I want to talk about that. But first, if I may, I want to
Sure.
share an example, and I'm curious because I don't know if we've talked about this. I don't know how there's anything left that we haven't talked about, but I don't remember us talking about our own children that are around the same ages. Mine are 21 and 24.
Okay.
Um, and I saw them go through this when they first were allowed to get phones. I think it was 13 we allowed them to get their first phones. And they got Instagram accounts, and my daughters were always thin, healthy thin.
Okay.
And I remember Grace, their mom, telling me that our oldest, Olivia, thought she had fat thighs, and I'm like, I, to I. How is that? Well, because she's comparing herself to these, Instagram people that
Yeah.
are, best foot forward. Everybody takes their best selfie. I mean, right these days you take about 15 selfies to find the perfect one that has the right angle and the chin and like all of it.
Yeah.
And so it's such a horrible thing for the young, impressionable mind to be comparing. I mean, we still do it today.
Yes. Yes.
I've
Um,
learned to cheer for people that are celebrating their wins and doing great pictures. I'm like, great, good for you. Like promote that positivity.
sure.
It's hard though to kind of not compare yourself to the other person and be like, well, why don't I have it?
Well, that's why they want you there.
Hmm.
That way you're down. And when you're down, you're easy to control. When you're down, you're fearful.
Now, some would
When
say, Tina, we're doing the same exact thing with this podcast.
That's true, but a podcast is different than social media.
We have a caveat, ladies and
Yes, we
gentlemen.
do. Yes, we do. A
Do
podcast is
tell.
different. Well, because you're not scrolling, right?
Right. You're
It's
well,
not frag.
hopefully.
You're not scrolling. You're
Hopefully
not
you're not on your
scrolling.
computer or your phone scrolling while you're
Right.
watching this on your laptop.
Right. And you're not scrolling. You're not taking in fragmented information. So
There is a flow. Yeah.
there is a positive side to the connectivity availability,
Mm.
but when it gets beyond that and you are now comparing yourself to everybody else, when you step into the negative of unfortunately social media, which is Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, like I'm sorry, those are the ones programming you. They hired engineers to do this to you, to all of us. Just like, I mean, I shouldn't probably say the FDA, but okay. They like to feed you bad food. Yeah, controversy. I know.
Yeah,
I know.
we're going there.
I said buckle up. I said
Yeah.
buckle up.
You
I
know,
mean,
I'm down for it.
I'm sorry, like that's the reality of everything. Like you have to take back the reins. So you have to put down the social media,
Yeah.
you know? And it's funny because today I did that. I have not
Oh,
really been on, I was on social media this morning for a few minutes. And then I just spent the day trying not to be on social media. Like, okay, what am I going to do today? Well, I'm going to do all my research. I'm going to, do this. I'm going to do that. I found myself going, but I'm kind of bored. It's not enough information. I'm addicted to taking in that amount of
you're hooked on the
information.
overload.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Seriously, we are
It
hooked
totally.
on.
I almost F-bombed. It's effing addictive. Meant to be, and message received. Got it.
Yeah.
It's the thumb or it's the thumbing, man. It's just endless. Pinky on the bottom. Shoom, 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 tap, tap. Shoom, 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 tap, tap.
Which, by the way, not everybody knows, but it's an ideomotor response. It's directly connected to the brain, right? We know this. It's why pressing the button or pulling the handle is so addictive.
Yeah.
Drinking, smoking, it's hand
Call me.
eye.
It's the call me mechanism.
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the dopamine hit that's connected to that, though.
So,
Sorry, it's a dopamine peak because there is a difference.
yeah. God, I saw a great video on TikTok. What's cool about some of the socials is the things that you like and follow, and like the algorithm pays attention, good and bad, right? And so I
Mm-hmm.
get fed
Mm-hmm.
all these amazing thought-provoking videos that
Mm-hmm.
and there was one today. I forgot to capture the language on it, but it was just so great explaining kind of dopamine and all the different things that happen to us as we're scrolling. I should have captured it. Um, I want to go back just for a second. You said this is the reality. You're saying it very statement oriented comment there. And I wanted to ask, do we all get to have our own individual realities, or is there one?
Well, they want you to have one.
No, no. Well, yeah, yeah, okay. Well, they want you to have theirs.
That's right.
And
What
people are
serves their
already
purpose?
I wonder if there's some of you that are scratching your head going, who is they and there? And like, who are they talking about?
Well, I'm sorry, I'm going to do it. It's
Do
the
it.
Mark Zuckerbergs of the world. It's the people that own these companies. They are in a position to do that, right? They're in this position. They're not doing anything for your good. Look, these guys don't need to. They sleep very comfortably at night knowing what their app is doing to you.
Hmm.
I'm sorry. I know.
Yeah.
I'm
So
sorry. It's
it's a
true.
hard pill to swallow because you want to think that, as a positive thinker and
Right.
doer, you want to think that Mark Zuckerberg isn't the devil, but
Sorry.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if he's got a pitchfork and horns, but I
Yeah,
definitely
it
know
was
he sleeps
like I
very
guess in
comfortably.
quotations, air quotes, the devil.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Wait. He started it as a revenge. Facebook was created out of
Right.
revenge.
Great movie, by the way.
Absolutely. And I
Yeah.
get it.
Social
And I
Network,
get it.
right? That was the name of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was
I'll
it
show
was
you
created out of
boys.
right, out of revenge. And now it's taken on that same dynamic. It's now look at me, what I have, and you don't.
And in all fairness, I believe from what I've learned and watched and paid attention to that there was some incredible greatness in the birth of that revenge, but then the machine takes over, which
The
is big
machine,
business, the bottom line, the profit
big pharma,
margins, like that's really what everything is about is the
big
wealth.
business.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, big business, big pharma,
Yeah.
big
Oh
business.
boy.
I'm sorry, big pharma has to get involved because you've got all these
Absolutely.
people
We're
are
a country
depressed.
of oh, you don't feel good? Here's a pill.
That's right. That's
Oh, you
right.
want to lose weight?
Absolutely.
Here's a pill.
But they've mastered it though. Like, think about what they're doing. You know, they're altering your way of learning. They're altering your way of living. They're altering your relationships,
Hmm.
your interpersonal relationships. I mean, Gen Z is known to do relationships backwards. Now, I could be wrong, but studies show that they opt to do it backwards. Like they'll hook up and then they'll see if they like you.
Yeah. Wait, that was just Gen Z? I feel like Gen
It's
X was like that too. I mean, I was
predominantly
very
Gen
much
Z,
so.
right?
As my mom
So,
would say, Don, you're all hearts and flowers out of the gate. I love love, man.
okay, I
And about
get it,
3
but
days
that's not
later, I
what they're
figured out if I
doing.
actually like you or not.
Yeah, but that's not what they're doing. They're
What,
literally hooking up and then deciding if they like you. They're
right
short
there
circuiting.
after that first time.
Mhm.
Is your son or daughter old enough to be considered Gen Z? I
No,
don't think so.
they're not Gen Z. They're millennials.
Yes. Okay. Thought so. Thought
Yeah.
so. All
I
right.
mean, my daughter technically, she's 26. She's right on the cusp. But if I had to guess, she's more millennial than Gen Z, just
Okay.
by her personality.
All right.
I could be wrong though.
Okay.
Um,
So back to the reality question. Each of us gets to have our own perception of reality because it really is what you perceive out of what you experience and feel, right? Because
mhm.
as we talked about, I think it was last week or the week before, talked about the body keeps the score.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Hmm.
So my reality is in my head, my heart,
Hmm.
and it definitely going to alter from even yours
Hmm.
based
Hmm.
on beliefs and experiences and what you're anchored to and what you are working towards, like what you believe. Yeah, I mean, it's really the epitome of conscious and subconscious here.
Well, the problem is that it's very fake and brittle, the belief of the social media construct, where it's a perceived perfection,
Yeah.
right? You can't build anything on that. Um, it's it's actually a vicious cycle
Mm,
because your dopamine will peak up and then it'll come back down. Here's the question is will you so if you like a post, your dopamine will go up. Or if somebody likes your post, your dopamine will go up.
yeah.
The question is if you are knowledgeable and you know where your dopamine baseline is,
Hmm.
the question is, would you like that post if you didn't see the one right before it? So
So you're
this is
kind of like
how
riding a high.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So this
most
is
addictions
like
do provide some sort of altered perception. High is an
absolutely.
adjective, if you're more of a drinker, it's more of
Mhm.
subdued, kind of chill.
Yeah. Well, they have got it down to a science where they can measure the dopamine increase like off of chocolate is like 1.5 times
Right.
peak, where amphetamines is a 10 times. So somewhere in there is your social media.
Yeah.
It's
On the
really close
spectrum.
to the amphetamines
Yeah.
increase. Yeah.
Um,
So
I feel like do you want to talk any more on the
no,
few
go
things?
ahead.
All right. I mean, I know we've touched on a couple of things that people are just kind of over there thinking, wondering like, when's the other shoe gonna drop, kind of a thing. Like, when are they gonna get into this
The
opinion
overload.
about food?
Oh.
So I want to go there. We
Mm-hmm.
talked about big pharma got mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
But before we go there, I was thinking about this whole overload thing, and I think I mentioned that I'm back at HMI as an instructor, and as
Mm-hmm.
I'm preparing for classes, I like to over prepare. Like, it's just what I
Mm-hmm.
do. I like to gather a bunch of information, and I like to treat the students as if I was a student again, what I
Right.
would want from the instructors. And we've both been lucky enough to have amazing instructors that were so giving to us. I think we gave Bruce a shout out, Bruce Bonnet, as an amazing sharer of information. And so I was
Mm-hmm.
looking up the term overload in some of the early workbooks that the students have. And if you
Mm-hmm.
don't mind, I want to read the Capistinian definition of hypnosis. It was that
Mm-hmm.
really long acronym. I will literally Venmo you $100 if you can tell me what that acronym is off the top of your mind. There's no freaking way. ODTHA. Does that ring a
Oh,
bell?
I do remember that now
Yeah,
that
you
you say
do. Of
that.
course you do.
Oh, of course.
Yes,
But I
and
can't tell you
so
what it means
just
right
just
this
to
second.
remind everyone, Capistinian refers to Dr. John Kappas, who is the founder of HMI with his brother Alex, and his son George Kappas currently is a director and leader of HMI, and it's a real family gathering that's just wonderful. So I want to read what this is because I mean, other than the next word is overload.
Right. That I
So
knew.
here's the Capistinian definition of hypnosis, which fits into what we're talking about today. The overload of message units that disorganizes the critical mind that triggers the fight or flight response.
Right.
Hold
Okay.
on to that for a second and let's talk about that. Thus creating a state of hypersuggestibility, enabling access to the subconscious. Like, are you freaking kidding me? This is exactly what we're talking about with social media,
Hmm.
overloaded with those message units. Message units, like, you want to fill in some
Anything.
color on what a message unit is? You want to?
It's anything and everything that you take in. So, whether it's a sight, see, smell, whatever that is, you're taking those in. So if you're looking at, an image that shows somebody being beaten, you're taking that in. And in that state, you do not know the difference between reality or fantasy. So you're
Hmm,
taking that in. That's a message unit of
yeah.
trauma.
Even
That's
simpler, I describe message units as just bits of data. However, you're
absolutely
taking it in, doesn't matter.
doesn't matter
There's
what it
so
is.
many ways to take it in. I mean, our
Mhm.
parents took it in on the newspaper and the evening news that everybody would huddle around the black and white TV to be
But they were
told
less
what's going on in the
suggestible.
world.
They were less suggestible than we are, unfortunately, or
Well, they had
fortunately.
different levels of overload.
Absolutely.
You
But
can
their
only watch
overload was
you
different.
didn't have a 24-hour news channel in the
Right,
50s and 60s.
right, right,
It was the
right.
newspaper, magazines, Time Magazine, for instance, Newsweek, like your
Hmm.
typical magazines but those were a monthly subscription. So the level of overload was like here compared to what it is now.
Hmm. I would say the same for, anxiety, depression, low
I, I
self-esteem.
I love this part that says, so the overload of those message units, you're all with us. Yep. Little nod of the head. You're still with us, right?
Hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake. Come on with us. But this overload that we're all experiencing, and if you're connecting to bits and pieces of what we're talking about as far as overload goes with scrolling and social media, to whatever your overload of choice is, to use
Hmm.
an addiction term, right? Oh,
Hmm.
hey, what's your overload of choice? That's funny.
It's Instagram. It's TikTok.
But what I like this next statement that it says that overload is what is disorganizing your critical mind that triggers the fight or flight. So you're going into
Right.
fight or flight from this overload.
That's right. Because the dopamine is being released.
Mm, mm,
Dopamine does not work
dopamine.
alone. It works with adrenaline, epinephrine.
Yes,
That they
yes,
do not work alone. They work together. And those are the chemicals that create that
yeah.
that that baseline hum of anxiety that a lot of people feel.
Anxiety and depression, right? Nobody is
Right.
fighting or flighting these days. It's
No, there's no
anxiety and
saber-tooth
depression that it's coming
tiger.
out as. Yeah.
Right. So it's
And good old
anxiety and
freeze. Don't
depression.
forget freeze, right? Because
Yeah.
Kappas hadn't included freeze yet, but as time has evolved, right, it's fight, flight, freeze. Actually, in the second year at HMI, we both learned that. I don't know if this came out in one of your Q&As, but apparently there's like seven other Fs: fight, flight, freeze, and all these other Fs. But freeze,
Okay.
I've been told and experienced is that it's kind of like being lethargic and stuck.
Procrastination.
Procrastination. There's the word. Yeah.
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 Yeah. It is procrastination. It's um you're just stuck. You're stuck.
This
And
is
that's where
like
a
the
lot of people are.
epitome of advertising because people, I don't know, we don't have bios on our page, but my dear friend Tina's bio is she was married to a chief marketing officer for a long time.
Hmm.
and really understands this world. You're probably
The
picking
master
up
of
on it that
spin.
she sounds much more intelligent about some of the words she's using describing this because she's lived it for so long from the other side. Now
Yeah.
she's over on the good side.
The master of spin. I mean,
Yeah,
they,
yeah.
so, I mean, unfortunately, I do have that information that, tests are done, data can say whatever they want. They can make data say whatever they need to say to market it to you in a positive way.
Mm,
Sorry, I'm telling the
yeah.
secrets. Um, it's true
No,
though.
that's what we're doing.
Yeah, it's so true. Like they can make it so that here you go. Your low fat diet is really, really healthy. Except now they know.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell them?
I do.
Go
So
for it.
I I'm glad you brought this up. Because food is such a big part of our demeanor and the
Comfort.
overload. And um I did the first time I did keto splashed onto the scene at least 8, 10 years ago. And I mean,
Oh,
like splashed onto the scene that everybody like started doing it. And I
mm,
did a pretty harsh version of it, like a total of 20 carbs total, not
yeah.
not net
Been there.
carbs where you take the fiber and minus that out of the carb.
Been there.
Like, dude,
Hmm.
like, but it was like after I got into it, it worked, and I lost like 52 pounds, and people were coming up to me like, "Oh my God, you look like you're melting."
Right.
And I
Right.
went from a triple X down to a large. It was pretty, but what I'm not bragging about that. But what I uncovered in my research is there was, and I wish I don't know where I have this. There's like a little newspaper clipping or some article or something that talks about that back in like the 50s, there was the battle with the government over which diet was going to be promoted as the diet. And it
You
was
mean the
low
Food and
carb.
Drug Administration? Yeah.
I
Go ahead.
believe so. Yes. Low
Hmm.
carb. It was two doctors, of course, right?
Hmm.
But it was
Hmm.
low carb versus low fat. Take a
Yes.
wild guess who won?
The one with the most money?
Low fat.
Oh, yeah, because they had the
Yeah.
biggest lobbyist.
And
Okay.
low fat is the big letters on the front of the
Low fat does
canister
not
or
mean good for
the
you.
product, but on the back where the ingredients are listed, it's a nightmare. It's a scary thing over there.
Well, because they take something out, they have to put something back in. And
Mhm.
now we've taken out so much fat that we're now having to put the fat back in. Hence the, oh, go eat an avocado because it has what? Good
Healthy
fat.
fats.
Right. Great fat. Okay, great. So I don't know. Like the Food and Drug Administration might be a problem. I'm just saying. I don't know why food and drugs go together.
Yeah. That's an interesting combination, isn't it? Unless food is a drug.
No, you don't say they put stuff in your food. Oh, so now what we're saying is you've got the food involved, you've got their mental aspect involved. You can physically keep them broken because they're going to constantly compare by using social media because that's really what's happening.
It's really the tear down and the breakdown and separation of body, mind, and spirit with your others, the separation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm sorry,
Uh,
why are we charging more money for food, for groceries? I want to hear somebody fix that problem. Okay. I'm just saying. The
I
economy.
believe it's the cost of goods to produce and ship
Oh,
and
mm,
gasoline and
all the
the
stuff.
of a P and L, profit and loss. This is all
Hmm.
the L, right? All the
Hmm.
costs.
Hmm.
That supposedly, right? That in a typical P and L, that's how it would work. You look at what's it going to
Right.
cost to get this on the shelf and somebody to buy it
Right. So
versus
not
what
only
we
does
should
the
charge to get
economy,
our ridiculous margin.
the ridiculous margin. Thank you.
I will admit I do love the Shark Tank, okay? And I cringe every time that all the sharks just get super uber excited when somebody talks about their margin.
I
Oh,
know.
it's a 53% margin. They're like, yeah. And it's like, yeah, rip them off.
Absolutely.
So,
So
yeah.
you have the state of the world, you have food that's bad, you have social media that's bad, you have an economy that's bad, and everybody's walking around not knowing how they're going to eat, how they're supposed to feel, how they're going to look, where they're going to get their food. Oh, wait, I don't know. There might be another weird pandemic thing going on, whatever. I don't know. Whatever's going on. And then on top of it, you've got what you're taking in emotionally
Yeah,
being affected by everything that I just said
sure.
because you're technically in overload. So
Yeah,
you're in that freeze or fight or flight state because you're hyper suggestible to from all the message units coming in, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake. Come on, stay with me, right? Like
yeah,
this is where we are. This is the reality of where we are. Now we have to find our way out,
yeah. We're
one
stuck
person at a
in
time.
that, as Kappa says in the next sentence of that definition, that that trigger of the overload triggers the fight or flight, which is that
Mm-hmm.
endorphin, right? Which then creates a state of hypersuggestibility. You see it all the time on TikTok. I don't know. I mean, I'm very careful about what I tap and like
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
follow because I don't want to see garbage. But
Right.
there it is, all the ads, and it's all about going to the TikTok shop
Mm-hmm.
to buy something, and it's hyper suggestibility. I'm like, I gotta have those no BS toothpaste tabs. Gotta have them. They're on sale today, Tina. Tina, only 7.97 today.
Which is a conditioned response that they have learned.
Oh
They
yeah,
have spent millions of
and this
dollars
is not new.
learning how
This is going
fast
on
you will
for
click
a
that
long time.
button.
Yeah.
Oh, this has been going on since Crest. I
Since
mean,
what? Since who?
since Crest
I thought you said
toothpaste.
Christ, and I was like, whoa, dude, I don't know.
I'm not getting into a God
Since
thing.
Crest, like the toothpaste,
Well,
like
yeah,
4 out of 5 dentists approve.
yes, 4 out of 5.
Now, can
It's
we,
not a good
if
thing.
I'm a listener right now, I'm wondering, okay, where's the punchline? Can we get to, how long are you going to overload us? Let's see. It's been like almost a half an hour of overload, and I'm
Yes,
hoping that people aren't turning us off because they're
no
feeling
one's turning us off. They
wound
all want to
up.
know.
If you needed to pause and you're coming back, welcome back. Um, what how do you combat against this hypersuggestibility?
You have to put down the phone first of all.
What? This I think it's literally part of my hand now.
I that's part of it, right? I
Yes,
understand. I
conditioning.
understand.
I am not impervious to the conditioning.
No one is. No one
Now,
is.
in the spirit of the Wizard of Oz, you can the good witch or the bad witch, right? You can use the tool for the tool. For those of you that are not watching us on YouTube and you're listening to us, she's literally holding up her mug that says "Witch, please." It's got a little witch hat. Welcome to
They're
the
themed.
Halloween season.
That's right.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's
All my
cute.
cups are themed.
Yeah. But seriously, you can use there's so many wonderful tools that you can use to your advantage. They don't have to take you over and create this hyper suggestibility state. And if you are going to partake in that knowingly, I knowingly partake.
Yeah.
But I put my attention to the positive of the
Hmm.
suggestibility.
Hmm.
What do you do?
Hmm. I have to put the phone down. I
You,
literally
you
have to
just
put it down.
well, I put it down while I'm
I have to
watching
put it
TV.
down and I have to not let myself get on Instagram
Yeah.
or because it's Instagram, I will scroll
Oh, wait,
for a
just got
very
an
long
alert.
time.
Kind of hard to
Right.
stay off your phone. You got to turn your damn
Right.
ringer off and put it
It's true. It's true.
face down.
Face down. So what I've started doing is instead of scrolling, I listen to a podcast because I'd rather learn something than just scroll through it.
Right.
So if I find myself scrolling, I try to find, I find myself doing that. I I figure out what it is. I figure out what it is that I'm searching for. What am
Right.
I searching for? What is going on with me that I need to be doing this?
Hmm.
Because you can't find the solution in that same state of scrolling. So you have to take yourself out of it and go, okay, what am I looking for? Am I looking for connection? Am I looking for information?
Right.
And nine times
Right.
out of 10, it's information that I'm looking for, and that's where I'm going to go
Sure.
first. So, why not? But then I transit to over to a podcast, and then I try and find that information there. Or I started listening to books instead of scrolling through Instagram for,
Yeah.
motivational something. And so if I'm looking for that motivation, then that's when I'll go to and find a book. So I really am paying attention to why I'm scrolling. Now, I'm not scrolling and looking at, you know, the latest shoes. I'm not doing that. Some people are, though, their pages are full of what the latest thing is. How about this? The latest thing is you need to stop being overloaded, because it's a hustle at this point. It's a hustle, and you're getting hustled.
I'd like to think that there is a growing number of people that are becoming awake to this.
10 to
It's still the
15%.
minority for sure. It's not even close to 60-40 or 50-50, but
No, then the actual number is 10 to 15% are
aware.
aware. Thank you for thank you.
You're welcome. We
Self-aware.
finished each other's sentences.
Self-aware.
Yeah.
10 to 15%.
Yeah.
It's not 60-40. It's not 70-30. It's 10 to 15%.
Yeah.
What? We're people, wake up. Wake up. One, two, three, four, five.
That's a
Eyes
smidge.
open. Wide awake.
Wow. Why is
Wide awake.
I'm just noticing my head is like right up on the top of the frame. God. A
So
chair or something.
here's the other thing. Movement. Physical movement will help. Like
We're
physical
back to
movement.
solutions.
I'm back to the solutions. That's where we
Okay.
were at.
All right. So
So
was the first,
physical.
can we agree that like the first thing that I was offering is that you turn your attention to and let the algorithm work on your behalf to show you positive. I mean, if you're going to
Sure.
overload yourself with the positive.
Sure. But limit your time.
Yes, of course. Okay. So tool number two is what did you just say again? Say it again.
Exercise, movement. I don't care if
What?
you're movement, walk,
Yeah.
get outside, walk, change the
Ah,
scenery,
vitamin D.
change it. So here's the challenge. Can you do it? Right? Can you just change one habit at a time? Because that's what this has become. It's become this habit,
Right.
So you have to
Yeah.
just change one at a time, because it is overwhelming. People are going through huge withdrawals of social media detox that actually, try to do this. Their anxiety is going to bump up. It's okay. It'll go away. Just breathe. Just breathe. It's the dopamine changing. It's the chemical change in your brain from not taking in that vast amount of information.
Right. Okay. So in the spirit of the definition of hypnosis, Kappas is telling us that it's this overload that
Uh-huh.
disorganized the critical mind, which kind of keeps
Mm-hmm.
track of what's in the subconscious, which
Mm-hmm.
is triggering this fight or flight response
Mm-hmm.
to get into the hypersuggestibility. So he's saying that all of that allows access to the subconscious deep-seated beliefs, but we're actually encouraging the overload in hypnosis to
Yes,
create the state that you're in when you're actually overloaded from the media, from the scrolling, from the
but
right.
that's
Because
focused, right?
that's what
But that's focused on the positive,
correct.
right?
100%.
Not everything you're taking in is positive in
No,
social media.
no, there's some dark that slips in there. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't approve
Mm-hmm.
it, but there it is.
I mean,
And I literally like I'll block certain accounts that are
yeah.
and I have spell people that contact me all the time. I'm like, no, man, sorry, bro. Uh-uh. Not going there. Not that I
Yeah.
don't believe in all that, but I just don't need it in my life right now. I'm good.
Yeah,
Got
no,
I'm working
it's
my
okay.
plan.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we can get down
Yeah,
to semantics at some other time, but you have to, break that cycle.
right. So what's the best way to break the cycle?
You have to decide you're going to do it. You have to
Wait,
make a
what?
decision.
I have
You
to
have to
take
make it.
personal responsibility?
Oh, that's what we're all about around here is accountability of your actions. Like
Uh,
you have to decide that you are being programmed. You're
yeah.
being brainwashed in a negative way. I'm sorry. You are. People aren't living the lives you see in social media. They're not. I don't care who it is.
It is a slight of a facade, isn't it?
It's a very sad facade.
It's
Like,
all advertising on
absolutely,
multiple levels. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, they're all wearing the same white out. Like if you look at some of these um I don't want to call them ads, but they're clips of people's lives where
They're
they're
influencers.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
literally the term, it's a
is
it's a
influencing you to make a
crowning
decision.
badge to that you're an influencer, like, and they're
Right.
making millions of dollars.
Yeah. Yeah. And
You're
I'm
literally
not so they
influencing
say.
people on what they decide to do in life
Hmm.
based
And
on
I'm
whatever you're getting paid to promote and show and blah blah.
which is great. Make your money, baby. Like that's cool, but know what you're doing.
Is it cool though? I don't think so.
I mean, I don't think so. Like you're making money off of brainwashing people.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very good.
What are you doing good? That's my challenge. It's like, what are you
Yeah,
doing that's good? Oh,
right.
you make somebody feel better because you taught them how to make decorative ice. Shut up. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think pretty much we're getting back to where we were last week, which was, finding your purpose.
Okay.
Because you're
It,
but could if there if or an influencer were to appear right now in the screen, would they defend themselves and say, my purpose is to live my best life as my highest self, and that's driving a Bentley, living in Beverly Hills with 37 bathrooms, like,
is it? Are you truly happy?
right. I mean, I'm thinking like,
I'll bet you sit in therapy.
yeah,
I
odds are,
I mean, more money, more problems.
yeah,
Like I don't know how many people say that one. The more money you have, the more problems you have. The more money you have, the bigger the problem. Like, and I'm not saying money isn't, money's great, but what are you doing with yourself? Like, are you making it a better world? Or are you making
yeah,
it a more fake world? Because when I walk outside, I don't typically see influencers. I live in Los Angeles. I'm sure they're out there, but I don't see them walking around like what you think. And on the occasion I do see one, I'm sorry, you're ridiculous. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
wow. We are either
I
going
know.
to explode with listeners after this episode, or we're going to drop. I'm
No, we're
okay with
not.
it though, because this is what
I'm
we
not.
do. This is what we talk about. This is our truth. If you're sitting there and you're getting pissed off and upset by what we're saying, you might
Mhm.
want to look at that.
Right.
You might want to
Right.
just take a look at that, why you're feeling so defensive right now of what we're
Right.
calling out. It's not
I'm
because
so
we're conspiracy
I'm
theorists.
not I'm not mad that you're selling, really cool pants. That's not it. I'm asking you what you're doing that's really, really great. Are you really that happy? Are you that stable as a human being? Like, are you part of the machine?
Yeah.
Are you tearing people apart? Like, and I know that each person that's, selling clothing or whatever, they think that they're doing something great for somebody. But the problem is that collectively we're all being programmed, including that influencer, because you're
Mhm.
only doing that because somebody before you did it. I know, I know.
No, I'm just trying to
I'm the
do a
disturbance in
little
the force
math to
today.
figure how long we've been running. Because,
I'm the disturbance in the force today. I'm
no,
sorry.
I am going to, I'm going to put the blinker on. Gonna get the, we're going to take the off ramp. If it's okay. Do you all right with that? Do you have any
Yeah.
last kind of rants you
No,
want to share?
I'm not, I'm not ranting. I'm not ranting like that. I'm ranting in
No,
a
I
positive
know.
way
This
because
is
I
just how
will.
we are, everybody. Like we have fun with
People
each
are
other.
absolutely, and people are really walking around like in a daze. Now, you
Totally.
have to get out of the daze. You have
Dude,
to get out of it.
I found myself doing it the other day. I was like freaking texting my sister while I was walking on the street. It's like so
Stop and breathe. Like
dangerous.
look around. So the
Yeah.
challenge is can you I understand everybody wants to hold their phone in their pocket at least in case they're lost. Not that we're all crossing a desert. Like it's we're not in the wilderness, people. You could find your way out of LA, I promise, or
We're
whatever
not with
city
Bear
you live
Gillis.
in. we're not on a remote island where we need to find, true north. That's not it. That's not it.
My favorite show.
But I get it if it's a safety factor, like in case you live in an area, like cool. But put it in your pocket. Try and disconnect. Walk around. Hear something that you haven't heard in a while. Get the sights, the smells, the textures. I don't know. Go hug a tree. Go,
Nature,
touch the
man.
grass with your feet.
Yeah.
Like pay attention. How many cars are there? Are there lots of people? Like get into being freaking present.
Yes.
Just be present and breathe. That's all I want you to do. That's
Preach.
it. That's all. That's it. That's all you got
It's
to do
now
is be
o'clock.
present. That's right. Where are you?
What, you just
Where are
reminded
you?
me. I learned this. I was talking to a friend outside of a meeting one time, and we were talking about this whole now thing, and we were talking about
Nice.
meditation and how to stay present. And he gave me the simplest little tip. He's like, and he was he was Australian. I'm gonna butcher the accent, but he says, you know what you do, mate? He says, just look down at your feet and see where you literally are
That's right.
right now.
That's
Because
right.
if you're tripping out about what's going to happen next week or what happened last Wednesday, the mistake you made that's just wrecking your mindset, right? That causes you to slip back out to being overloaded again and looking at all those messages.
Mhm.
If you just get present, and that has evolved over the years for me to do that and then take my shoes and socks off and ground, like get
I got
grounded.
mhm.
Yeah.
I got two questions for you.
Yeah.
Where are you?
Right.
What's your answer?
I'm
These are
sitting
the
in
two
my,
questions.
yeah. Where are
You're
you and
here.
what's your answer? Those are the
No,
two
no, no,
questions.
no, no. Two
Where are you?
questions. Here. And what time is it
Ah,
now?
I like it. Now o'clock. Yeah.
Mhm. And
Um,
that is the beginning of the challenge.
yeah. It feels like I wanted to touch on some of the things that people can do just to give them a little hope, but you're gonna have to come back to for next episode. Next episode, we're gonna talk about self-care.
Absolutely.
And a bigger, broader, like a whole 45, 50, maybe even an hour of
Mhm.
talking about the opposite of all this, right? So we get little
Mhm.
tips like put your phone down, go for a walk, get outside, exercise, eat right. There's 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 one thing that I wanted to just kind of have a quick conversation about is so if you're walking around in overload, which is basically you're all walking around, we all are walking around in some level of hypnosis.
Yeah.
Um, do you find it effective to help people by dehypnotizing them when you work with a client as a
Absolutely.
hypnotherapist?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I wanted to hear a little bit about that, just to kind of end on a hopeful note.
Everyone is so hyper suggestible, right? Um,
What
to
do
the
they call
point of
that? What's the suggestible term?
overload,
Yeah, no,
overload,
I
hyper
think it.
suggestible. Oh, somnambulist.
Yes, it starts with an S. Yes, there you go.
Yes, somnambulist. Um, so here's the side effect is because of the availability of information, I have found that a lot of somnambulists, not all of them, but I have found that they like to self-diagnose themselves. And the problem with that is A, they don't understand what it takes to actually diagnose somebody.
Hmm.
But because they're so hyper suggestible, anything and everything that they're reading, they're going to connect with because they think they have that,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So that's, the somnambulists of the world. They want to self diagnose, a little more likely to self diagnose than somebody that's not a somnambulist, that's just literally walking around the world like that. Um, but you have to get them to, you have to dehypnotize them.
Yes.
Yeah, you have no choice.
100%,
You
which is like in the beginning, right? Obviously, we started coming across this during COVID. Like both of
Yeah,
us were in school and seeing pro bono clients during the lockdown when it
right.
first happened. Um, And did you notice? Well, we don't really have a frame of reference before COVID, what it was like, other than just kind of being aware of our surroundings and our life and how people kind of acted and interacted. But it feels like it just ramped up significantly during COVID because everybody was shut down and on a device
Yes. I mean, it went from 0 to 100 in like days,
in an
days.
announcement of a shelter in place.
Yeah. And everybody went into fight or flight.
Yeah. Yep.
You were there overloaded by the news, and then you went into fight or flight, and then you became hyper suggestible to your surroundings. And all you were taking in was information about that. So you just created more fear. And
Yeah.
that is what has happened. And now everybody is in a state of that or freeze. Um, and they're really susceptible to everything on social media. Stop
Yeah.
scrolling, listen to a podcast, stop scrolling, read a book, go outside, stop endlessly scrolling on social media.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, you're going 3 times a day, just breathe, just for a minute, and just be
Yeah.
grateful for something. Just try it for a minute, just 1 minute. See if you can do it for a minute. If you can do it for a minute, do it for two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a great place to stop. Um, so I wanted to remind people, I'll put it in the show notes, but if you want to get in touch with Tina and I, our websites are going to be in the description of the episodes, wherever you're listening or watching. Um, Tina's website is her name, Hypnosis. So it's Tina Orlando Hypnosis.com. And
Mm-hmm.
mine are the numbers 360 hypnotherapy.com. So you can get in touch with us there. There's contact us and etc. And I just want to remind you all, first of all, thank you for being here. Um, we're happy to have you in our Zoom square, but really, you're listening in on what we have been doing for almost the last 5 years, just talking about all of it.
Stuff.
So thanks for being here. I want to remind you to like, follow, and subscribe. Feel free to share this with anyone that might be connecting with this topic of overload. I mean, it'd be like, who isn't connecting with
Mm-hmm.
that topic? And
Mm-hmm.
again, we really do appreciate your comments, questions, and wonderings. So feel free. You never know,
Absolutely.
that might turn into an episode. Um, you want to do our catch line as we close out today?
Our subconscious speaks. The question is, are you listening?
I am.
I am.
Yeah, you are. All right. Well, I think that's it for now. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Tina. Love you.
Love you
Bye, all.
bunches.